Well, greetings and thanks for joining us for another episode of Lightbulb Moments, episode number 132. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out past Lightbulb Moments episodes, and also check out our podcast as this has now been turned into a podcast too. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm host and curator of Lightbulb Moments. A Lightbulb moment to me is a moment of sudden realization, enlightenment, or inspiration. And generally, you need a light bulb moment to spark new action at times. And we hope with this forum, we're able to gather each week and unpack light bulb moments from other people, as well as members of our community, as well as myself. Remember, you can't start a fire without a spark. So hopefully these sessions give you a spark to do what's new and next for you. At Cunity, what we're here to do is help you to go from confusing, overwhelming, and complicated to a simpler and clearer path towards prosperity. And remember to prosper manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. Thanks again for spending your precious time with us. Whether you're joining us live or listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube, we're glad you're with us. And we love hearing from you. Submit any light bulb moments on our website. Last week, we had Garrison Neal as a guest, a great guest, and he had several of light bulb moments, and a lot of it really had to do with his pursuit in his career in beauty, especially as a third generation family member of a family business. Definitely check out your session with Garrison. Well worth a listen, and I completely enjoyed spending time with him last week. Also, last couple episodes before that, definitely worth checking out with Kelly Eilers. That was almost a master class on what's new and next in social media. And essentially, she distilled it to what's new in social media. It's coming in hot, and it's coming in 2024. Great episode. And then a few episodes we're on with my friend Roderick Samuels, a great session. The man has a lot of passion and a lot of wisdom. Check out those episodes. Coming up, we have an exit workshop, which actually is partially misnamed. It's really a succession workshop. It's really about those that want to be part of a successful transition that's part of something that allows the current owner to either let go a bit more or possibly even go, and then also creates a space for the next generation to move into a grow mode. So that workshop is coming up next week. We're actually going to go through several big takeaways, including 5 keys to valuation, 5 keys to a business valuation you want and deserve to grow, and what to do about it now. And essentially, this will help you get confidence, help you with preparation, regardless what your plan is, maximize value and get educated. It's October 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia, the day before 2 to 10. Speaking of 2 to 10, it's coming up. It's right around the corner. A big multi-location conference. It starts in just about a week and a half here, and very excited about it. And yes, we are excited about it. There's many reasons to attend 2 to 10, and you can check it out on our website. We have a great speaker, Jay Van Bavel. He'll be joining us, and of course, a wonderful community of innovative, market leading, what's next, for those of you that are in the multi-location space, connecting with peers and sharing some data too. Don't forget to also check out Money 02, a podcast by Aaron Kuhn. And also we've added some new dates for our Execution SBO workshop. We have them coming up November 13th and 14th. That is by popular demand. Money EDU for students is another part of our offering, and we'll leave it at that. All right, my light bulb moment from last session really had to do with the generation. This has been an ongoing topic within light bulb moments, generational issues not being discussed. And that is, what I mean by that is I've been at some presentations recently about communicating to, marketing to, hiring to next generation like Gen Z. And a lot of wisdom around that, and a lot of innovation needed to really connect with the next generation of the workforce. The generational issue that is not being discussed is the generational issue of 70% of small businesses are owned by baby boomers. And there is a tsunami and a wave of transitions that's coming very, very soon, which is a very positive thing if you're on the front end of it. Essentially, it boils down to putting it a little more direct. Does the business stay open or does it close? Because in many cases, without some type of succession plan, the default is to actually close, which is a bad outcome. I have a great recent story about that, by the way. So anyway, that's been a regular topic, and that's why I think being with Garrison last week was great, because Garrison was part of our original Emerging Leaders program that was part of 2 to 10. And he, when I think of Garrison and other people that were part of that, it's great to see where they're at right now in the industry, making a bigger contribution. Austin Randolph, I think, might be joining us today, and he's a perfect example of that. So we talked a little bit about the emerging leaders competition, et cetera, and awarding a cup. And then we got into the subject a little bit about 13X, which is a way for someone to strategically, intentionally, and in a structured way, chunk away at letting go or going from their business. Letting go might just mean getting out from behind the chair or being able to take 4 weeks off or something like that. So you'll hear more about that in upcoming weeks. It's really a strategy that creates a structure to all types of succession. All right, my light bulb moment this week is it's really more of a conversation starter. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to leave the opportunity to invite certain people to the mic. And let's just see here. I actually did invite one person to do that, and I haven't heard back. But I have a topic, and I've had a lot of light bulb moments on this topic, and I want to get it out there. And I want to see if by a raise a hand or something, and I'm going to have JP moderate, or Michelle or JP, someone will moderate this, and possibly give someone the mic if they have some opinions on it, okay? And here's the subject. It's a subject I've been putting a lot of thought into lately, and it has to do with celebrations and awards. And what do I mean by celebrations and awards? And what do I mean by micro versus macro? So really, in awards and celebration are really a wonderful fundamental part of a great culture, and a way to really acknowledge things that really are worth acknowledging. And I know, as a salon owner, put a lot of thought into what we celebrated at our summits and what we celebrated in salon meetings. And so that's one type of award and celebration. And I will call that micro. That's within an individual business. So that's part of the conversation I want to start today. The bigger part of the conversation, especially where I'm looking for the most amount of input, has to do with macro awards. And macro awards I would consider to be a little bit more industry related. So a macro award, for example, could be a NAHA award. It could be a behind the chair award. Salon Today top 200. So those type of awards and the current state of those awards and possibilities. So micro and macro, if anybody's intrigued or has any immediate thoughts that are going to come to mind, put it in the chat, or I'm going to try to watch the chat a little bit myself. But let me start this conversation a little bit and unpack the whole idea of macro awards and just give you some points of view and just different things that I've seen work through the year. So when we look at awards and celebrations for your team, I like to break them down into like 3 different categories. And all 3 categories have relevance, and there's also some myths, traps, and just different things. So I'll break them down into 3. One, we call them KPI award. They're really based upon some type of key performance indicator. So this would be like top performer, top retail sales, top new artist, but it generally relates to a KPI, which usually relates to sales, some form of sales. So KPI awards, that's first category. Second would be, we'll call them non-KPI awards that are more value or function driven. So in other words, not necessarily due to specific key performance indicator, but a celebration of teamwork, customer service, creativity, community. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, many over-celebrate the KPI and under-celebrate the value type awards. And then I'm going to give you a third type of award, and this is also has a KPI to it, but it's length of service. It is celebrating longevity and commitment to a company. So 3 categories of awards: KPI, non-KPI that are values driven, and then length of service. So let's go to KPI for just a moment. So we're talking about macro awards, KPI driven. Here's probably one of the main areas of caution here when it relates to KPI awards. Top stylist, top colorist, top new artist, top retail, all of that. That they tend to be all back of the house driven. Meanwhile, you got the whole front of the house. And I think it's a big miss not to have some KPI type awards that apply to the front of the house. It takes the front and the back of the house to have a successful revenue stream. And to me, it seems like many front desk members of the team aren't really part of that process and feel excluded. So big opportunity there. With KPI awards, frequency can come up. So how frequent? Certainly annual, celebrate top performer of the year, highest growth, all the things we mentioned. And also that's an opportunity to do on a more frequent basis, which could be, well, for us, what we like to see is follow a seasonal cycle, once a season, and 2 seasons equal a quarter. So perhaps they could be quarterly as well as annual. But I'm going to leave it there for KPI awards now. Then I'm going to move over to non-KPI awards. I also think this is a big miss by many companies, and there might be some non-KPI awards, but I think there's an opportunity to go further. And I'm not of the mindset that everybody deserves a trophy, but I'm of the mindset that there's a lot of opportunities to celebrate exceptional exceptionalism. Not necessarily just performance, because there's other ways to perform that can't be measured. So here would be, again, I'm going to lay out some examples. So celebrating teamwork, whether it could be just one incident that was an extraordinary moment. Customer service, same thing. It could be just someone that regularly, if let's say you're doing a net promoter score, or you've got, ratings that come in, pull apart people that were acknowledged. Creativity. Some of the top producers or some of the key people in a salon environment may not be top performers, but they're the creative force. And if you over celebrate KPI awards, you're failing to celebrate creativity, which is a huge driver. Community. If you look at the values of most organizations we work with, community is a big piece to it. And so celebrate individuals when above and beyond the call of duty for community related matters. And then how about this one? Recruitment. Obviously finding and keeping talent today is very difficult, and finding talent in particular. And sometimes the best source of recruitment is going to come from a team member. So maybe it's an opportunity to celebrate like the new hire of the year and the person that actually helped recruit that person. So that's non-KPI awards. The last one, which is simple, I don't have a lot of comments about, has to do with length of service, which is, again, celebrating people's 1-year anniversary, 2-year anniversary. Celebrating length of service, especially in a compressed service cycle these days, I think also really creates a great culture. All right. Any comments or anybody want to raise their hands on that part of the conversation? Let me know. And I want to get into macro awards now. And here's where I have really more, some questions and some just insights that I want to share. So again, macro awards, I gave some example, like behind the chair, NAHA, which is generally for a form of creativity. Roderick, our guest from a few weeks ago, was Educator of the Year. It's a really great and prestigious award, and love NAHA. Salon Today Top 200. That is a award system that has evolved through the years. And originally it was very metric driven. And so numbers had to be submitted and growth was measured. And I think due to practicality and other things, it migrated over to a completely subjective award cycle. So top 200, as we knew it in the past and as we know it today, has evolved, especially as the organization Salon Today has evolved. In the interest of full disclosure, Stacy Sobel is a good friend. I respect her work, and she's done a great job through the years with the top 200. It has changed quite a bit, though. I think part of the change has to do with moving from a more of a family-led company, Vance, to more of a private equity company. And so the top 200 has really changed quite a bit to meet the needs of a parent company that is a private equity company and how awards relate to revenue and events and that kind of stuff. I think that I do have some concerns about how some may misrepresent a Salon Today Top 200 award. For example, I saw a posting by someone that said they're one of the top 200 fastest growing salons. Well, that can't be verifiable because there's no metrics that really relate to fast growth. So I do get a little bit worried that some of those awards get taken out of context. At the end of the day, I think it's wonderful that there is an awards that allow salon owners to feel pride and get to celebrate. And I'm a big fan of awards. There was a day where there were some high caliber awards. Some of us might remember an alliance with UCLA and the Global Business Awards, and how inspiring that was and how esteemed it was because it was affiliated with the university. And there was a little bit of separation from those sponsoring the awards and those actually coming up with who won the awards. And I've always kind of missed having something like that. That was really having beauty industry awards that are really at another level. Something that would complement the existing awards. And nothing wrong with the awards today. I just feel there's an opportunity to maybe think a little bit bigger. And part of what I think would make for some great industry awards would celebrate KPI and non-KPI. So going back to having awards that really are driven by KPI and require submission of data, there's oversight, but then also look at non-KPI that would really be related more to impact. Let me give you some examples. So I don't know, I think it would be super exciting to celebrate impact in certain areas such as advocacy, a planet, partnerships, innovation, creativity, and gather nominees from across the industry of those small business owners and teams that really are providing exemplary results and success that's very admirable and should be celebrated not only to ourselves in the industry, but outside the industry. So two tiers. One is KPI based. Maybe it is fastest growing. Maybe there's some other KPI, but then allowing the space to really celebrate some of these awards that really reflect values that I think we have as an industry. So anyway, those are my thoughts for the day. That's my light bulb moment for the day. And happy to see anybody in the chat. Happy to have anybody contact me about some of their input on this. Would love to get your thoughts. Today, I think what we're going to do is keep it short. And I'm just going to leave that out there and see what comes back to me. And I'm anxious for feedback. So that's all I have for you today. Before we wrap up, what I want to do is I want to acknowledge, I want to come back to acknowledging sponsors, including Lightheart Sanders, as well as Ally Health. Also want to make a mention that we will be on next week, and then we're off the week after that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and also check out the podcast. We love hearing from you. Go ahead, submit a light bulb moment on our website or reach out to me. In particular, I'm super curious about some of your feedback is about celebration and awards. We also have a Light Bulb Moments website. You can go there. And once again, I want to thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you next week. Thanks much.